Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhuvantu Sahaviriyam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. So, we will begin with some reference to what we spoke yesterday. The scriptures say that Avritti Sarva Shastranam Bodhatapi Gariyasi. If we repeat the texts of the scriptures again and again, that is more than realization. It gives us a reminding of what we are expected to do and what is the goal we are going to achieve. Therefore, generally in our tradition, we begin the day with remembrance of God. In our monastic tradition, we begin the day with the remembrance of our monastic vows. There are about 64 vows we take to become monks. And in the morning we begin the day with those vows. We repeat them to remind us what is the goal, who we are, and what is the behavior, practice expected of us as monks. So, repeating these things help us, and that is what is known as rehabilitation in modern medical term. Rehabilitation. Drug addicts rehabilitation. Terrorists rehabilitation. It is nothing but repetition of some positive ideas. We talked about our inner life. Inner life is a journey. It is a journey more difficult than the journey we have in the material world, in the biological world. Biological challenges, material challenges are easy to overcome, but it is always difficult to face our own selves. It is easy to face an objective enemy, but it is very, very difficult to face our own realities inside. And this is the thing we are going to discuss, and that is the subject matter of the scriptures. There is a Swami Yogeshananda, who used to live in Atlanta some years ago. I was his guest. I asked him, Swamiji, there is a question always by people that you are running Vedanta Center. Why don't you give importance to the yoga exercises, physical exercises? We do give importance to that, but for general public we don't conduct such classes at many places. So that is one grievance or one complaint against our activities. Yogeshanandaji smiled and he said, and that is because we don't think that the self is the body. We try to help people to realize the self, and we do not try to tell them that this body is the self. Yes, it is necessary that we take care of the body, but that is not an end in itself. We ourselves practice yoga, but the thing is that outside there are millions of yoga teachers. If we start our school, they may lose their job, and it would create a problem for the government. The idea is that we don't say or think that this body is all for us. Therefore, we do help organizations, inspire organizations. We do inspire people to take physical exercises. I in Germany particularly inquire with all young people, particularly who are gaining, means being vertically challenged, horizontally challenged. So, what type of exercises do you do? Then they perhaps don't do anything. So I try to inspire them to do at least the Surya Namaskar. That includes a lot of stretching and exercises, bending other things. So we do inspire people to keep the body fit so that the mind becomes free from this pain, that pain, and can act upon itself. This is a big problem. We know how to objectify things, how to deal with objects outside us. So for any action, we need two entities. One subject, another is an object. But in case of dealing with our own realities inside in the mind, what do? The mind is the subject and the mind is the object. This is a big riddle, and therefore it is really difficult. The mind which will correct itself is not trained enough to do that. When the mind wants to get up early in the morning, the same mind says, no, just put on the snooze, and the snooze goes eternally. It's like that. The mind has to be trained. That is the idea. So faith and doubt we discussed. This is the first step to move into our own self from outside. Faith and doubt. And what did I say? Faith is not necessary, it is very bad for us. So we should always ridicule any kind of faith.
No way.
Or did we say that doubt is to be ridiculed, doubt is not necessary, doubt is bad? Actually speaking, what we discussed is that doubt is an integral part of faith. That's what we should know. There is a big misunderstanding. Even in religious, I shouldn't say literature, but religious texts which are explanatory, not the original ones, but explanatory texts are available in magazines. They discuss these things. Psychologists sometimes also are ambiguous about the role of doubt in case of our faith. But Vedanta, Yoga Sutras, they are very firm to declare that doubt is an integral member of faith, integral part of faith. A faith without doubt is nothing but superstition. We must remember it. So it is always good to have doubt. But this doubt should not be just for the sake of doubting. Doubt for doubt's sake is useless. It is just misuse or abuse of our dynamic energy. Doubt does not solve our problem if they are only doubts. Rather, we go on becoming hypercritical. This we have seen sometimes. Very young people have a lot of doubts, and if you analyze, you will see that I gave the example of Sri Ramakrishna, that this Konnagar devotee came to meet Sri Ramakrishna and asked this question, "Sir, have you seen God?" Sri Ramakrishna bypassed a direct answer. Because our questions are most of the time meant for showing our specialty. When there are so many people, we ask some questions out of idle curiosity. There is no seriousness behind that. We are not serious about life. And I have seen such one or two examples. When we are talking, the mind of that listener is engaged in finding out what could be the doubt, what could be the loopholes, fallacies in the argument. And it is searching for that all the while, not listening to what the person is saying. Therefore, as soon as the talk is over, then questions come. You see, a problem can present many possible answers. But when a young scientist takes up a project, what does he or she do? Just Google to see that if someone has already tried on this type of project, then you will get answer there that some people tried with this and said this is impossible. As Thomas Alva Edison has said, he has so many patents in his name. He has said, I have never failed in life. I have only discovered 10,000 ways which did not work for me. I have never failed. 10,000 ways which did not work for me. It is the statement of a big scientist in those days. Similarly, when we Google, we will see that so many possibilities have been eliminated because they do not work. Possibilities are possibilities, but they may not be really possible. So some people have reported they have tried with this problem, but after 3-4 months of research, they found that it is not possible, invalid. Some people might have reported that they have tried with this. There is a paper published in that journal, and it supports the possibility of this type of project, but they have found the answer to it. Therefore, the scope is reduced. So we move to another idea. So reducing the scope. So when we go to listen to someone, or we go to the university attending classes by the teachers, we will be attentive to what the idea they are trying to convey. Scriptures are nothing but an information which exclude all impossibilities. If you read the scriptures, particularly the Brahma Sutras, you will see hundreds of questions have been raised, and it seems that we are the questioners. These doubts have been raised, and the scripture said eliminated with proper answer or reasoning, that they are impossibilities. That is why it is necessary that we should listen to scriptural explanations by those who are traditional scholars, not scholars just coming out like mushrooms. They have no basis because their doubts have not been solved. So, when you look at the scriptural discussions or scriptural attainments, then we see that they are traditional because they have been tried by many people many centuries together. The Vedic truths which have been contained in the Vedas and Upanishads, they have a long tradition of about 8,000 years. 8,000 years, maybe 10,000 by now. 8,000 years before this type of knowledge was available. So how long did it take to develop such type of knowledge before that? It is a wonder. And they discovered these truths long, long ago. I remember when I was reading Shankaracharya's commentaries, some places he speaks of strikingly modern theories of physics. Shankaracharya at one place says, it is far away, means it takes time to reach there. Time and space, he is looking from on the same standpoint. How far is your home from here? 5 minutes. That is not a unit of distance. That is unit of time. 5 minutes. But we convert it like that. Shankaracharya also converted it so many years ago. Scriptures also converted it so many years ago. Swami Vivekananda, long before Einstein, has at one place said, you cannot project a straight line infinitely. Then it will become a circle, he has said. Well, we may argue that it has no research behind it, scientific, rigorous research is behind it. Well, most of the truths came in the mind of the scientists without having a basis of research before that. They came as an idea. Very interestingly, you remember that the idea of sewing machine came to the mind of the inventor in his dream. He was struggling to find out an easy solution of sewing. And he saw a needle with an eye in front, not at the back. And that revolutionized sewing, which is not much more improved even today. Like that, many things. Srinivasan Ramanujan used to say that all these mathematical ideas, which are even today a wonder for big scientists, came to him as inspiration by Mother, Divine Mother. These are the truths. There is no rigorous research, scientific basis for those truths. Therefore, when we look at the scriptures, we know that the truths there have considered impossibilities and eliminated impossibilities, and they are so bold to speak of that. So doubts accompany our faith. And the less the doubt, more the faith. That is the equation. The less the doubt we have, more the faith we will have. This is the idea. So we should look at the doubt as our inspirer. They inspire positive, dynamic researches or searches. Then we will move to another idea in our inward search, and that is common to all of us. Of course, doubt and faith too are common to all of us. But another one which sometimes escape our economy. And that is known as fear. Fear of losing something which we already have. Fear of embarking on an uncharted territory, like inside ourselves. Embarking upon that unknown. This is a big fear in spiritual life. And modern psychology says, fear and anxiety, these are twins. They live together like faith and doubt. So we will try to see what the scriptures have to say about this fear and how, in what way this fear is affecting our inward journey. Each and every footstep is taken with fear. The scriptures say that when a person realizes his or her divinity or reality, that person becomes fearless. That's what Swami Vivekananda has said. In and through Vedanta or the Upanishads, one word runs, and that is called fearlessness. Abhi, he said, if one thing the scriptures or Upanishads has taught, that thing is fearlessness. So Abhi is the mantra one gets from the scriptures. Why? Because we are always subject to fear. Our inside journey is always subject to fear. Fear of losing the outside security as such, and embarking upon uncharted territory, unknown. Everyone will be afraid of that. Fear speaks of unknown things. Our ignorance about a thing creates fear. And when you know those people or thing, then fear is gone. So what is the way that we can remove fear? By knowing. Ignorance creates fear. That is why the scriptures say, Dvitiyad vai bhayam bhavati. Fear comes from duality. If you and I exist, you don't know what is there in me, I don't know what is there in you. There is always a scope for fear. So fear is another very important thing which has been dealt with by scriptures. But as we have said, fear cannot be treated in isolation without considering the case of anxiety. In short, we can differentiate between anxiety and fear this way. Anxiety is about a fear about something which may happen, may not happen. We imagine. This is called anxiety. It has no real object. It is an imagination, a fear of a policeman. I see in mild darkness a policeman standing because I am a thief. Therefore, the policeman, superimposition of policeman on the stump of a tree is created by me, not by the tree. It is not an objective thing, it is a subjective thing. I create fear for myself. This is called anxiety of the unknown. But fear is something which is very real, which has an object. And that we carry from our evolutionary history. The primitive man, primitive animals, they used to live in fear. Primitive man used to live in fear. That is why we have a primitive brain still in us, and that carries the fear of the old age. So primitive fear is there in our mind. Then medieval cruelty is there in our mind, and modern greed. These three things are very much there in our brain. And they create a big impression on our mind. They control a lot of the parts of our mind. We will go into that slowly. So, as we have said, we will deal with this idea of fear, how it is affecting our inner journey or spiritual progress. Most of the time you will see that if you ask many young people perhaps, I have seen I was speaking to a group of students in Vellamal Engineering College in Chennai. Some 300 of the students, both boys and girls, they were present there, so I was speaking to them. And there, when I said, you can write your questions on a piece of paper and transfer it to me, I will not ask the questioner to stand up. And I just want to identify that person who has asked this question. You can ask any question, but that should be relevant. I told I would ask you because you are very bold people. If I ask you to stand up there, it is also very easy. But if I ask you to come over here and stand before the microphone, we will not be able to listen to what you say. We will be able to listen to the shaking of your feet. The microphone will reflect. That is the strength of the fearlessness we have. That is true. It is very difficult to face people outside standing face to face. And if we stand before ourselves face to face, that is another big problem. There are so many unacceptable realities within us. And that is a big challenge for us. It is not that when others call something unacceptable, we take it for unacceptable. That there is no morality in that. But our recognition of the unacceptable as unacceptable is the basis of morality. How are we prepared to face that reality in ourselves? Particularly those people who are vocal about the defects, immoralities in respect of others. They face a big challenge in their own self. That is why they want to hide that by a facelift. So the inner territory is much more dangerous, difficult, and therefore we are afraid to face that. We are not afraid that we will be losing security outside. We find a security in the material world. This is the kind of security which has no basis at all. Suppose a thing is moving and I want to hold on to that. What would be the effect? I too move along with that moving object. What kind of security do I find there? There is no security in that thing itself. A changeful reality is never a reality, you should remember that. It is a kind of relativity. And we think that it is a reality. That is our problem. We are trying to find security in those things which are themselves not secure. What kind of security it is? Any kind of changefulness cannot provide any secure basis. That is the truth. That is scientific truth. Therefore, they divide reality into three parts, scriptures. That one is called relative reality, what we see in the waking state. Scriptures have spoken about relative reality, vyavaharika, long before relativity could be discovered by science. Vyavaharika, for the sake of our vyavahara, dealing, behavior, actions in this world, we create a reality in the waking state. But there is another reality which is called deceptive reality. That is very deceptive. That deceives us. Because we tend to believe in the security in a changeful reality, which is deceptive, and we are deceived voluntarily. It is not that people are forcing us to believe in this, but we volunteer ourselves to be deceived, and we are usually deceived by that. In spite of our scientific knowledge, in spite of our training in reasoning and logic, we can't get out of this type of deception. So, what is the security we will find in this material changeful reality? That itself is very funny concept. We think that we will be losing security if we start going into ourselves. This cannot be accepted. Logically it is not acceptable, practically it is really horrible. Therefore, the problem actually is we are afraid to face ourselves. We are afraid to face ourselves because we have to question the legitimacy of having such things within ourselves. Do I deserve to be called such and such personality? Someone told one philosopher, I have found several mistakes in your behavior. Then this philosopher said, then I know you know very little of me. Then I know that you know very little of me. Several mistakes? I have many of them. You don't know. That is the truth about ourselves. If we look at ourselves, inside ourselves, in how many ways we fail to prove our worth, that can be discovered. That may lead to depression. Therefore, we are afraid to face the reality within. Why should we be afraid? That is the question of the scriptures. Are you the mind that you are afraid of yourself, your mind? You can look at your mind because you are separate from your mind. I remember a beautiful incident which happened when I was traveling from Chennai to Nagpur. I was going there to give 3 talks in the university, and the university sent me a train ticket, and that was in the 2nd class AC. So in India in those days, so many years ago, it was a kind of interesting thing for others to see a monk with ochre robe traveling in 2-tier AC. Well, that was a funny thing. But the university sent me the ticket. What can I do? Otherwise I would have bought a plane ticket. So I was going with these people, and then there were some people around us, 2-tier, 2 to 4 to 6 people all around, and they were all very talkative. I too am talkative, but because they are talkative, so I kept quiet. And a monk should show that monk is very quiet. People will trust you. Oh, very big spiritual person. Swamiji says, if you have some depression or problem in mind and have long face, do not appear before the public, because you have no right to spread that disease among others. That is a disease. In Germany, if you are long-faced, then you are a high spiritual person. In Germany particularly. They can't think of a spiritual person being always happy. That is a big problem. Because they try to project their problem on the spiritual person. Someone told one of our monks, Swamiji, before I saw you, I did not know that people could be always happy. How is it possible? That is something different than the Germans. So, I was traveling with them and they were so talkative. I was sitting with the book and reading, and if a monk will read a Upanishad or something, and I was reading that one and speaks of Atman, Atman, Atman everywhere. Then these people, the one young person was there sitting by me, or as usual, we young people of 63-year-old. So we become more inquisitive about what this person is doing, not about what I am doing. We become inquisitive about others. So this young man, he was talking, then he asked, Swamiji, to which organization do you belong? I said, to Ramakrishna. Where are you going? I said, I am going to Nagpur. Yeah, we too are going, he said. Then I said, but you know each other, it seems. Who are you? Then he said, we are all psychiatrists. That is big recognition for them. Actually speaking, they make fun of psychiatrists. Please forgive me if there is a psychiatrist among you. They say, how to know that a person is a psychiatrist? There is only one thing you can observe. First, in the morning, if you meet someone and this person asks you, generally what we do, how are you? We ask, that is general. And if that person says, I am doing fine, fine, you don't react. But if that person says, I am not doing well, then what we say? Oh, hello, then what happened to you? We inquire why you are sick or why you are suffering. But if the person says, I am doing fine, we don't ask. Why? We should ask, why? Why are you happy? What happened that you are happy? This we never accept, never ask. So here the psychiatrist, what happens, you know? The psychiatrist will say, hello, you are doing fine. How am I doing? Then you know, yes, he is a psychiatrist because he is confused about himself. This is the trend. It is not my joke. It is available in internet. So I will always acknowledge the source. Otherwise, I will be caught for infringing intellectual property rights. That is a big problem in today's world, and most of us do that. So I acknowledge the source, that is internet. We don't know which internet, where you will find, but it will be available. So then he said, we are psychiatrists, we went to Chennai to attend a conference on schizophrenia. In USA you have to pronounce it schizophrenia. Schizophrenia. Okay, all right. There was one senior lady also. They are all psychiatrists, some 6 of them, or 5 of them. Then after some time, I was going for the restroom, and then going to the restroom, and this young man said, Swamiji, can I look at your book? What are you reading? I said, just look. Then he took the book, and I went and I came back, and after that he has already read a few pages from it. He did not start from the beginning because he is no more a beginner. He started somewhere and opened and saw this Atman. Then when I came back, then he said, so you read all these things? I said, not only these things, but so many of such type of things. So you are reading here, I saw self, Atman. So you read it again and again, you start believing in it. You start believing in it, that it is true. I said, yes. What is the problem? It may not be real. Maybe that is true. Then he gave a very meaningful smile, very compassionate. Then I looked at him and asked, you are a psychiatrist? Yes. So you are reading constantly disordered minds. So are you still a doctor or have you become a patient? Then this lady became very happy. You have told the right thing, Swami. Senior lady. So you are reading the disordered minds constantly dwelling on that. So you start becoming a patient. Do you? No. But the joke says that they become patient. Ramakrishna says. Shivnath, I hear that you are telling people that I have gone mad. I am thinking of consciousness and I have lost my consciousness. And you are thinking of matter and you still retain your consciousness. You have not become mad. I have become mad. So thinking positive thoughts, I am doing wrong, and thinking negative thoughts, you are still fine. We have to accept that. These are a contradiction in thought and in behavior. Therefore the scriptures are taking great pains to guide us. Shankaracharya says, scriptures are like thousands mothers put together. One mother troubles us so much. They don't allow us to do this, that. Don't do this, don'ts and don'ts. And here 1,000 mothers. What type of protection? Yes, it's a different kind of protection because these scriptural mothers don't expect anything in return. And they don't say that this child is my child and that is not. Therefore, no love, affection for that child. My child, my child. But the scriptural mothers look at everyone as her child, their child. That is why Holy Mother. Because she did not have any child of her body, she looked upon the whole world as her creation. Everyone became her child. So, here the scriptures are telling us how to save ourselves from these problems inside. So facing fear in ourselves, in us, and what kind of fear they are founded or unfounded. We have to check that. So now question is, can we actually get out of fear? The scriptures have said that we can get out of fear when we realize the self. Abhayam voi janako praptosi. Hey Janaka, you have realized fearlessness. You have become fearless by doing what? By practicing spiritual life. You have become fearless. You stand on your own legs. That is the direct benefit of following instructions from the scriptures. We stand on our own legs. We do not lean on anyone else. Freedom has two sides. One side is that others should not hold on to us. Will let us remain free. But the other side is more important. We should not also hold on to others. Then only we are free, otherwise not. When we fall sick, what happens? Oh, I am sick, please bring some tea, coffee to my room, etc., etc. Why? What happens? If you are really sick, then the medical care will take care of you. Otherwise, you take care of yourself, what is the problem? Okay, we always like to be taken care of. That does not prove our spirit of freedom. We want freedom. We say we are free, we must let us remain free. But if we look at ourselves, we see that we depend on so many things and so many people. How free we are. Try to get rid of things which are depending on you and on which you depend. And there are two types of dependences. One is material dependence, very easy to get out of. But inside, mental dependence, that is very difficult. If we are not able to get out of that dependence, it will be difficult to get rid of other types of dependencies. So, the scriptures are telling us how to get out of fear. The question is, if we get out of fear, is there any place where we can go and it is fearless place? We try to avoid a lot of difficult undertakings. And that proves who we are. There is a beautiful story in the Ramayana, the epic Ramayana in India. Rishi Vishwamitra came to King Dasaratha asking for help. He said, I heard that you have two princes who are very bold, heroic. There are a few demons who are disturbing our yajnas. I want to take help of those two princes, Rama and Lakshmana. Can you just lend those two kids to me so that I take them there and they kill the demons and I'll bring them back safe? King Dasaratha looked at Vishwamitra and said, yes. Okay, all right. Then he went inside and brought two princes. Here, take them. Vishwamitra was taking them, and when he reached the verge of the forest, then he said, now, my dear boys, kids, we have two options. One is, if we take the right side road, pathway through the forest, this pathway leads through the den of those devils. We have to go this way and reach our place, but we have to go through the settlement of those demons. But it takes only 1.5 hours to reach our place. But this left side is another way, which leads us through safe territories, and we can reach our home, and it takes 1 whole day. So which one between these two ways would you prefer? Then the two kids said, why do you take so much trouble? Let us go by this left side way. There is no problem. Vishwamitra looked at them and said, then my dear boys, you are not Rama and Lakshmana. You are not Rama and Lakshmana. I have been cheated. So because you are choosing the most comfortable life, therefore you are not heroic. You don't want to face challenges in life. You don't live at all. There is no rhythm, no beat of life in you. So he came back to the palace of the king, and from a distance when the king saw, oh, it is over. Now the Rishi is coming, he is angry. And then he brought Rama and Lakshmana immediately and said, sorry, by mistake I brought this. And Vishwamitra said, okay, all right, since you like that. So, the way we choose proves who we are, how we are prepared. That actually challenges are there to prove ourselves who we are. We cannot complain about challenges. They are similar for everyone. I remember one German lady, she used to come to our class several years. And suddenly she developed cancer in her right leg. It had to be amputated. Then still she used to come in a wheelchair. One day I was talking to her after the class. She was sitting there and I was talking to her. They say shared sorrow is half sorrow. That is why I share Kunal Das sorrows. So he feels half relieved. So shared sorrow is half sorrow. So I try to show my compassion, my understanding about her difficulties. And she spoke something which taught me a great lesson. She said, Swamiji, I googled, the great savior, I googled. And there I found there are millions of people in this world who do not have one leg. What way am I special? A crashing reply. What way am I special that you are showing such kind of understanding? Then he said, not only that, I have also googled. There are even millions of people who do not have two legs. What way am I special? In spite of her suffering, her practical, difficult conditions. She is a German. She said, what way am I special? If tomorrow I get a lottery, do I ask, why should I, among so many people, get this lottery? Do I ask that question? What way am I special? That shows self-confidence. We trust in ourselves. We respect our dignity as the self. We are as individuals. Self. So, when we read, sometimes I read in the newspaper, in India if you read newspaper, what is the report? 200 people died. Number. We are counted as numbers there. But I have seen in Germany, in the Western countries, how much respect for one life. A handicapped person comes independently with the roll stool, means the what is it called now? This wheelchair, automated wheelchair. The driver goes down, places something on board, and he goes or she goes, and the driver does that with so much respect and consideration. Value of a life, not a number. Do we ourselves give that respect to ourselves? That is the question. So we search for a place where we can go, where there is no fear. Yes, the scriptures say there are places available where you can go and there is no fear, you can enjoy life. Where is it? That is a kind of a bribery. Yama tried to hoodwink Nachiketa. He said, come, go to the heavens. There is no fear, nothing, always enjoyment. Life is enjoyable, livable, you will find it is so nice. I will give you long life, those things. Nachiketa said, there is still better place where even your territory ends. It's beyond your territory. Na tatra tvam, you are not there. The Yama, the king of death, is not there because it is deathless. Na tatra tvam na jaraya vibheti, and nobody is afraid of anything, any loss. There is a place like that. I heard of this. I want to go there, not to your place. Even if I go to heaven, I will be still subjected to your rule. If I come to this world, I am subjected to your rule. You may give me long life, but it has an end. It is in time. So he proved to be wiser. Of course, Yama wanted to test. Yama was also wise. But he wanted to test him. So there is a place which is beyond fear. This is one. And this, then you say, where is it? No, in the heaven. How to go there? You have to go there leaving your physical body here. And if you leave your physical body here, go to heaven, you will get very delicious apples there, and very sweet seedless grapes, and a nice river flowing there with sweet water, maybe lemonade water. So you just lie down there, fruit